Okay, so we did the factoring where we had this stuff here, let's make that, okay. So this was pretty easy,
Yeah.
okay? Because you just looked at that and said, all right, 32 breaks down into 1 and 32, and 2 and 16, and 4 and 8, and 5, 6, 7, 8, that's it. Okay? And then because that was a plus sign, we're going to look for a pair that adds together to get 12, so it was this. Okay, so I got x squared, I'm sorry. So in my parentheses then, I'm going to have x's there because of the x squared, and then what we found out is we need a 4 and an 8 there. Then the last thing to do is figure out if they're both plus or both minus or or some combination. Since they have to multiply together to get plus 32, they're either both minus or both plus, because when you multiply them you get positive. Okay, and since they had to
plus, since the first one's plus.
exactly, since they had to add together to get 12, they're both going to need to be positive, and then we're done. Okay, so where we're going now is, what if we have one that's an uglier mess? Okay, let's build one. Let's say we got one that's 3x plus 2, 2x plus 5, okay, and that's going to get you 6x squared. I got 15x plus another 4x, so plus 19x, and then plus 10. Okay, and then what we're going to do is pretend that we don't know what's up here. Okay, and somehow we got to figure out how to bust it.
1 and 10, 2 and 5.
Yeah, the problem is that strategy worked when we had just a 1 right here, but now we don't. So we need a better tool. Okay, and I've got notes that are going to say that I'm going to give to you about this. Okay, and for the people on the recording, I'll put the notes on the Google Classroom or something like that so you can see them. So what I'm going to do this time is take these two numbers first, 6 and 10, and multiply them together and get 60. And then I'm going to find all the pairs of that one. So 1 and 60 is a lot of them. 2 and 30, 3 and 20.
Oh yeah, you multiply them.
Yep, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6 and 10, and that's it. Okay? And then we're still going to use the same thinking though. This says I'm looking for a pair that adds, and I want them to add together to get 19. So I'm going to use 4 and 15. Okay? But here's where we take off from what we did before. I'm going to take that 19x and I'm going to split it up into something with 4x and 15x in it. So I'm going to use the two numbers I generated from here, and I'm going to split that 19x up into 4x and 15x. And the only way that 4x and 15x can combine into positive 19x is if they're both positive.
Yeah.
Okay?
But like,
Yep. Okay. So now these other two things right here, the 6x squared and the plus 10, are just going to come down for now. Okay. So I've taken this expression right here and just rewritten it this way by splitting up that middle term. And the numbers I chose to use came from right here. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you to think about these two things separately. I'm going to say, please think about this part right here and think about this part right here separately.
like they're in the parentheses.
Well, not really like they're in parentheses, but like they're standing alone for a second. Okay? And I'm going to ask you, what's the biggest thing you could divide out of both 6x squared and 4x? 2? You could also divide an x out, though, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, you could.
Okay? So I can divide 2x out, and what's left over inside the parentheses?
X squared.
Well,
Or just X.
there's got to be a 3, because 2 times 3 gets you the 6.
Oh, and there has to be a 2.
Yep, there's got to be an x here because you've got to get x squared. And then over here, there's going to be a 2. Exactly right. So 2x times positive 2 gets you your plus 4. Okay? And then I want you to think about the part that's highlighted in yellow separately as well. What's the biggest thing I can divide out of both 15x and 10?
5.
Okay, positive 5?
Yep.
Yep, so I'm going to take a positive 5 out, and I'm going to ask you what's left over inside the parentheses.
So you have 5a.
Okay.
10x.
Well, 5 times 10 would get me 50, not 15 though.
Oh, 3x.
Yep, 3x.
I keep thinking what you have left.
Right.
So it's 3x and then it's 5.
Well, 5 times 5 would get you 25. You only want 10.
Oh, 2.
2, okay? Okay, now the biggest thing to notice right here is that this and this match, and that's very important. If they don't match, then I did something wrong. If they do match, it doesn't guarantee I'm right, but if they don't match, I know I'm wrong. Okay, and what I'm going to do is pause for just a second, and so I'm going to put a pause button right here. Here's a pause button. And I'm going to step over to a new page, and I'm going to ask you this. Is there anything you could factor out of these two things?
Can you do that?
Yep, you could take an A out. Okay, and how'd you know you could take an A out?
Does they both have one?
Because they both have one, right? Okay, and let's do another example while we're here. If I have 5B, G, smiley face, plus 30, T, G, smiley face, is there anything you can take out front? Out
So
front of
it'd
it.
be 5B plus 30T.
Okay, I can take a 5B out, but notice, I'm sorry, oh, this one doesn't have a B. I can't take a B out, can
No, you have 5B plus 30.
I? Okay,
Because you can take the smiley face and the G out.
yep, and a 5, right?
Oh yeah, you can't take a
Okay, I can take a G out and a smiley face.
Yeah.
So basically what you're looking for is what do they all have? It's pretty lousy smiley face, sorry. Okay, so this has 5, it could be divided out. It's got G that could be divided out, and it's got smiley face that could be divided out. And then you'll write the leftovers inside the parentheses, right?
Yes.
I'm going to have a B, and that's it? Yep,
Plus.
okay. And then over here I'll have a 6 and a T and no smiley face, right?
Nope.
Okay, and then we're done. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is step back over to this question, and I'm going to unpause it. Okay, and I'm going to ask you, is there anything that these two things have in common?
Well, yeah, they have the same things in the principle.
Yep, they got a 3x plus 2 in common, don't they? So I'm going to take that out in front, just like I did with the G's and the T's and the smiley faces. Okay, and I'm going to ask you, what's left over from this after you divide out
X plus 5.
2x plus 5. Okay, now we've just finished factoring. In fact, if you go back up here's the original thing we started with.
Oh.
Okay, so we just finished factoring the whole thing. Okay, let's do another one. Let's go. Let's build one first. Let's go with 2t minus 5, 3t plus 1, and then that's going to get us 6t squared plus 2t minus 15t, so minus 13t, and then minus 5. Okay, and then we'll cover that up, pretend like we don't know it's there. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take the first number out of each one. 6 and 5. I'm going to ignore the negative sign for just a
So
second.
30.
And write 30. And write all the pairs that combine there.
1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and
2, 3 and 10, 4, 5, 5 and 6. And that's it, right?
yeah.
Okay. This sign right here tells me I'm looking for a pair that subtracts, and I want them to subtract to get 13. So that's going to be what, 2 and 15?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll take that 13t and rewrite it as 2t and 15t. And if I just add those together, I get 17t, and I want 13t. So I'm going to have to figure out what signs to give each one so that they re-add together to get negative 13.
You do it plus 15 minus 2.
Okay? If you make that minus and that plus, okay? Unfortunately, those combine to get positive 13, and I want them to combine to get negative 13.
Oh, so the other way.
Yep. Okay. So it's going to be the other way. So let's make this a positive and that a negative. That'll work?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'll bring the 6t squared down, and I'll bring the minus 5 down. Okay. And then I'm going to ask you again to think about this thing. Whoops. That was supposed to be a highlight, not an eraser. Okay. I want you to think about this thing and this thing separately. Okay? So the thing in yellow, the biggest thing I can take out of both of those is what?
2.
2?
So the first one's 3 and
Okay.
2.
But I can take a t out as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that gives me inside 3t
Yeah.
and what?
Plus
Shoot.
1?
Plus 1, yeah. Because they have to re-multiply together to get this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And now let's think about the one in red. And I'm gonna tell you, if you see a minus sign right here, be sure what you take out is negative.
So 5.
Yep. So you can take a 5 out. And what's left over inside the parentheses? I really hope it's 3t plus 1, but let's see.
Yeah, it is 3t plus
3t plus 1? Yeah, because the minus 5 times the positive 1 gets you, oops, not 1.
3.
Oh, you know what? We can take out something bigger.
15.
Yeah, I can take out a 15.
Oh.
Okay? And that leaves me with,
1.
you know what? I think there's a mistake in here somewhere. Because this should be working different. Oh, duh. That right there is a minus 5, not a minus 15. So let's go back and fix that. Let's erase the 5.
So it is 3t plus 1.
It is 3t plus 1. Okay. I was starting to panic because I'm thinking, oh great, I've been recording this whole thing and I just screwed up. Okay, 3t plus 1.
Yeah.
And this should be a 5 right here. Just a moment. We're taking out a negative 5. Okay. And so now we ended up with a 3t plus 1 out in front because each one has one, and a 2t minus 5 left over. And let's check our answer. Yep. Okay, so it's backwards, if that's all right. Okay. Making sense?
Yeah, it still
Okay.
works.
I'm going to pause the video here, but the main idea was I took the original expression, I multiplied the two outside numbers together and got a number that I found all the factor pairs of it. I used the same reasoning as before. If that's a negative, then I'm looking for a pair that subtracts to get the middle number, and we split it up into those two terms. And then I factored the pair separately, the front pair and the back pair, and I was hoping, making sure that I got this thing the same in both of them, that if I did, I could pull it out front and write the leftovers inside and I'm done.